Yeah, how's it going, guys? It's Richie Unicorn Caller here, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. We are back with the news, and hopefully you guys don't mind. I am questing on my storm, and I am currently in Dragonspire. But I wanted to make this video kind of going over some of the Xbox questions I've been receiving, and just like in general, like what's going on with Wizard101 console. So if you guys don't know, like we said, it's in the game preview, and they actually have this on the website, and we're gonna read it together so that me and you both know what's going on, and everybody else knows what's going on. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. And I'm also gonna enter combat as well on my storm character because I am questing and I am ready to get out of Dragonspire. So let's jump right into it. So over here it says that Wizard101 now on the Xbox Game Preview, which it's been on the Xbox Game Preview for a while. I don't think they really did a good job promoting it as much because it is kind of like a beta and it's still kind of like in its testing phase. But anyway, it says, hey, Wizard101 community, we're so excited to announce that Wizard101 is now playable on Xbox through Xbox Game Preview. Wizard101 on console has been something we've been itching to do for years, and this program is a very important step into making it to finish, a line of launching consoles. I know I totally just butchered that whole sentence. But over here it says that we view launching on console platforms as a huge opportunity to not only allow any existing community members to experience the game in a whole new way, but also introduce the game to an entirely new generation. We can't stress how important this is to us, and we want to make sure we get it right. The last thing we want to do is open the console floodgates during official launch and run into unexpected issues that hinder the player experience, which we have already seen a lot of player experiences in the Xbox Game Preview, including the Hall of Champions and some other bugs here and there. So yeah, this Xbox Game Beta Preview is very good. So to enter, Xbox Game Preview. Xbox Game Preview is our test bed to get feedback and squash as many bugs as possible before our full launch. Now, in order to do this, it's crucial that we test each aspect of the game so there are no surprises later on. And if you're new to the Wizard101 community, just a FYI, you will see a lot of bugs. You will see a lot of bugs and glitches. And no pun intended, because I am actually fighting bugs right now as we speak. But yeah, you get the point. They just want to test out, just test it out. Just make sure everything's been going good. And that's what they've been doing in the Discord. You can see all the bug reports here and there. But yeah, if you're new to the community, Wizard101 generally just does not have a QA team. I mean, I'm on PC, and you'll see me talk about all these buggy updates like constantly because it happens all the time. And honestly, it gets kind of annoying in a sense, just like a little bit. I mean, sometimes the bugs are kind of like, okay, you can live without, but like when it's like every update, then it kind of gets annoying. So, as a fair warning for you console players, expect bugs. There will be bugs, especially for the launch of consoles. It will definitely be a buggy experience. Well, hopefully not too buggy. Like I said, that's what this, beta is for. So over here, down here, whatchamacallit, we have split the testing period into multiple different phases. And I've been getting this question a lot about each phase and like what's going on with each phase. That focus on the many different ways the players can interact with the game. AKA make some money. Yeah, make some money. Anyway, while we can't promise specific dates right now, we do want to be transparent with our goals throughout this process. The outline of what we hope to test and accomplish within Xbox Game Preview is below. So let's start off with phase 1, which we're not in phase 1 anymore. During this phase, they actually had a problem with the zone purchasing testing. Like, you couldn't really, I guess, buy certain worlds, or it was just glitchy. So temporarily, they kind of gave everybody a free membership. But also at the same time, a lot of wizards were sadly trapped in the Hall of Champions void. And there still are wizards that are not only trapped in the game, but just in general, I think people are still stuck in the whole tutorial bug situation. So that's an issue that also needs to be resolved very soon, or I hope it's been resolved already. But from my understanding, whenever they do want to update Wizard101 on consoles, it has to go through the console manufacturer first. You know, it's kind of different like PC. You know, PC, they can easily just take the servers down, but for Wizard101 on consoles, it's a whole big process. I think I remember when the Stardew Valley update didn't come out for like some of the consoles until like months later. So yeah, it's definitely a slippery slope. But yes, during phase 1, which we're not in anymore, you know, membership elixirs will not be available so that we can test the ability for players to successfully purchase zones individually. Honestly, they can do some of these phases by themselves, but yes, you could basically buy the areas as we do in Wizard101 on PC already. So now we're in phase 2, which is our current phase. And in phase 2, this is basically testing out the membership elixirs. So during this phase, membership elixirs will enter the crown shop and will allow us to ensure that these elixirs work correctly alongside the zone purchasing method. So this is the phase we are in right now. So right now they're just kind of testing out if, you know, whenever you buy a membership through these elixirs, you know, hopefully it all works out. Because I think, and again, I say that it's very different than PC. I feel like that they're only going to allow the memberships through their in-game store. I'm not sure if Microsoft, Nintendo, or PlayStation will have their own built-in system where you can buy memberships directly through the PlayStation Store or through the Xbox Store. I don't know if they've really, you know, figured out the whole negotiation process of that. I do know some games that have that, like Final Fantasy Online and also Elder Scrolls Online, but for Wiz, I think it might be a little bit different, but it's still too early to kind of make any assumptions. I want to make that clear. It's way too early to make assumptions. So anyway, going over from over here, that's phase 2. So, you know, if you want to play the beta or at least get past Wizard City, definitely make sure you check out those membership elixirs. And now over here for phase 3, which we're not going to see phase 3 for a little bit, I don't think. I think they're really going to be stuck on phase 2 for a while. And phase 3 is basically when they do the free membership testing. And this basically means that every single person will have a free membership, at least for the Xbox game preview. Not for you PC players. I know PC players definitely love the free memberships, but that's not what it is. This is only for the Xbox game preview. I have to make that abundantly clear. During this phase, all players will have free membership, right? Which is cool. This final wave will allow us to test the ability to give free membership for certain time frames, as well as encourage a large player base to enter the game for us to do overall gameplay testing on a larger scale. And so basically when they announce that they'll do the free membership, imagine that it's going to be a lot of people logging in to those console servers, just trying to quest up as much as they can, and just overall it will be larger. I mean, I know when they do the free memberships on PC, there's always a few issues such as server lag and just instability with the loading zones and stuff like that. You know, it's just a whole, again, Wizard101 can be very obnoxious to play sometimes, but hopefully during this phase there's no like not paywall, but like there's no quest blockers like we saw with the Hall of Champions. I think from now the only one they have is an Imperia, which is a ways away. So it seems like, you know, they're doing a decent job at making sure that the game is at least functional, and hopefully it will be functional during the whole free membership testing. I feel like there might be a flood of people though to log in, and it might cause a little bit of server instability. So we'll see where it happens whenever this does happen, because this is a very big event. You know, free memberships always bring in players, so we'll see what happens there. And then the final phase is Phase 4. And this is basically the overall console launch. So after the testing period is over, the Xbox Game Preview account data will be wiped. I have to make that abundantly clear again. Your data will be wiped. If it hasn't been stated quite enough, this is a game preview. You're just testing out the bugs and hopefully reporting them through Discord. If you don't want to do that, that's completely fine as well. But just as a reminder, this is a game preview. So your account data will be wiped and the whole community will start fresh on all the consoles as we launch on Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and also the Nintendo Switch. And no, there is no news about the Nintendo Switch 2. They've said it multiple times on their KI Lives that Nintendo just doesn't, they're really fragile about the Nintendo Switch 2. So hopefully it is available for the Nintendo Switch 2. But, that's something Nintendo got to figure out on themselves. But yeah, this is pretty cool though. And, that will basically be like the final phase. That will basically just be when you'll be able to play the game on consoles. Now, also have to bring in some other details they did not mention here. This is completely separate from PC. If that already has not been abundantly clear, I've already seen a lot of reports of people buying crowns on the website on their PC account, and they think that, you can bring those crowns on your consoles, or you can transfer crowns, or there's cross-save, there's cross-play between the PC and console players, and we've said it a billion times on this channel. No, absolutely not. No, none of that stuff is true, and I've said it time and time again. You cannot play on the PC and Xbox on the same account, right? It's kind of similar to our whole Steam dilemma when they released the game on Steam, where you have to make a separate account. And in this case, for the consoles will have their own direct account associated with their own consoles. And just because KI doesn't have the resources like Fortnite to really support cross-save or cross-play with the PC clients, right? Okay, I don't want to see anybody online comment on my video and be like, Richard, be like, okay, dude, I told you, it's separate, okay? Everybody on console starts fresh on a brand new Wizard and a brand new account, okay? If you're a Wizard101 PC player like me, then just keep playing on PC, unless you don't mind starting over and not keeping all your stuff like purchase bundles and packs and stuff like that, And who knows, maybe in the future when they do, hopefully, quote unquote, get the resources or I guess the technology or the accessibility to do that, maybe we could see a future where PC and console Wizard101 players will be able to play with each other. But as of right now, for the launch of it, they've stated that a billion times, and it cannot be stated quite enough. So now let's read the rest of the stuff, and this will basically kind of answer the questions about what happens to all your crowns that you've purchased. Well, making purchases during any phase of the Xbox Game Preview period is completely optional, and you're more than welcome to wait until we enter Phase 3 to continue testing later on, if you prefer, to stay up to date on which phase we are on, latest patch notes, and more. Please join their Discord, and I can't stress this enough, to please join the official Wizard101 Discord server, because literally that will have everything concerning all the stuff about Wizard101 on consoles. And yes, their Discord can be a little bit overwhelming. I will admit, their Discord is very overwhelming, but it will definitely give you the first-hand experience, or at least better notifications than me. And I know I'm a news guy, but definitely make sure you keep post notifications on for them in that Discord server, because the devs are always talking about it. They're always answering questions and whatnot, and you could also have a fun time looking at all the bugs that people reported. Some of them are pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, it's all just a work in progress, and it will definitely help the devs out if you report any bugs that you may see. And like I said, it's already buggy on PC quite enough. I don't think they'll patch like every single bug. Obviously, bugs are to be expected in this year of gaming, but that's just how it is for Wiz, you know? Wiz is a very old game. 2008, very old. Please note that all game progress, they're saying this again, as well as purchases made within the Crown Shop during this Xbox game preview phase will be reset at the end of the testing period. So crowns spent in the Crown Shop will be returned to the Xbox account which purchased them, and can be used again once the game officially launches, right? So if you're buying crowns on the Xbox game preview and you have a fear that you're going to lose them during the launch, no. Those stay on your account. It's just the purchases that you make will be reset. So, once it officially launches, you just purchase them again with those crowns that get back on your account, because you're only using those crowns to really test out stuff, It would be cool to kind of see them add in, like, maybe some features or something, like, make like an exclusive badge, say like, oh, you're a beta tester. That would be cool to see, but I don't know if they got the technology to do that, I keep putting an emphasis on technology because, again, 2008 video game, I don't know what type of resources they have, but hopefully enough resources that the game has been lasting for more than like 17 plus years, right? And it is a scary experience trying to go on a brand new platform. I mean, I remember when the whole Steam dilemma went in, and they were like, the first thing they said, like, oh, you can't use your pre-existing account, and like everybody just massively like downvoted it, and I was like, oh yeah, that seems about right, But yeah, it is pretty interesting. And the last thing they say is, thank you so much for your support as we work to make the console launch the best it can be. Your feedback is always appreciated. See you in the Spiral Kings Isle team. So that pretty much wraps it up for the main analysis of the whole Xbox game preview. And I'll leave this linked if you wanted to read it yourself. But that pretty much explains the whole, like, console situation, because I've had that question a lot, and I know people on the channel really want to know more about consoles, but at the moment there still really isn't much to talk about besides that Xbox game preview beta, right? I mean, that's pretty much the only thing there, because you have to consider that they gotta go through all these bugs, they gotta make sure that they have a working build and make sure they can send that to PlayStation and Nintendo. They did say that they are close on, I guess, doing something with PlayStation. I don't know if PlayStation is going to have their own beta or if PlayStation is kind of giving them the green light to release it. I know some of those gaming companies can be a little bit picky about what games they, want to put on their, service or whatever, but it should be fine. Now, another thing is that you can play the preview without needing a Xbox Game Pass, and I think they stated that you don't really need a console membership. And as I say console membership, I'm talking about stuff like PlayStation Plus or Nintendo Switch Online. Considering that Wizard101 is a free download similar to Fortnite, you don't really need any of those online subscriptions in order to play. Now, that's what they said. Hopefully nothing changes, and hopefully that's the right information. But that's at least from what I've heard from their Discord server and from the KI Lives and blah, 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 blah. You should be able to play that freely without the need of an online subscription. The only time you're going to need to cough up money is when you get to the first paywall in the game, and that's when you'll be asked to basically buy a membership, probably through the Crown Shop store in their game, or probably somewhere else. But I would imagine that you would have to buy the crowns through the console manufacturer or whatever, the console store, and then you could use those purchased crowns to purchase a membership elixir if you want. So again, it's all up to your preference. We already had a whole discussion concerning the whole paywall dilemma, and obviously people already dropped the game, which is fine, like, respect to them, because again, paying for this game is very expensive, and I think it's gonna come towards the launch. Like, I think a lot of people are going to have to ask themselves the question on how much money they are willing to invest into Wizard101 on consoles. And you also can't use gift certificates either. Any PC gift certificate is not going to work on console, as they've also said on their KI Lives and the Discord. They have to kind of find a way to make console-specific gift certificates, or at least a global gift certificates, and bundles and packs or whatever, bundles. They're just going to have to figure that out as well, because like we said, console Wizard101 is a highly specific thing. So yeah, I think the launch for consoles will be fine. However, I do think that we will see a large drop of players. I don't know what type of data they're reading, but especially in the big year of 2025, I feel like a lot of console players are going to heavily criticize the game for not only having paywalls, but also a subscription service as well. So, we'll see what happens. We've been seeing a lot of successful games, such as Helldivers or Claire Obscura 33, and just overall, just nice games that have been like $40, $50. And then, you have this very old MMO game coming out, obviously, with the hope that people will buy a membership, will buy a bunch of crowns, and will spend money in the microtransaction shop, as we know as the Crown Shop. That's pretty much the main big hope for KI, is that they get some money out of this. Because if they're not making enough money out of this, then, it kind of seems like, I don't know, like, this kind of seems like, was this a good idea? Should we have waited? I definitely think they should have waited for the announcement, though, because remember, they announced this game coming soon, quote unquote, coming soon. They announced it all the way in August. I mean, that is a long time. It's practically been like almost a year. I think we're at like 7 months bare minimum since that announcement in 2024. So I don't know. I think next time, if they are going to try and promote something, I think they need to do a better job at kind of like bridging the gap of release date, or at least more information, to rather than just going kind of radio silent for a couple of months and just saying like, oh, we're still working on it. And I think a lot of console players are starting to become a little bit impatient about, the console launch, right? So I think that's kind of like already their first L. But in terms of the launch itself, I think it will be a great launch at first, but after that nostalgia wears off and, a bunch of people kind of hit that first paywall, especially in Crocotopia. Like, they currently have like Firecat Alley and Cyclops Lane for free right now, but, you go to the Oasis for free, and then you try to go up to that pyramid, and it is a lot of crowns. I think it's like 3,500 crowns. So, I don't know. I don't know what the player reception is going to be about. I just hope that it doesn't, like, tear them limb from limb, because I know that, especially for the community managers, it can become a very stressful time getting all those direct messages or hate comments and stuff like that, So, please be respectful for the devs, because, quite honestly, I think it's honestly out of devs' control. This is mainly, like, higher management type stuff, like upper management type stuff. And just overall, the cost to do this is very high. So we'll see how the launch goes. And if you still somehow, if you still have any questions, do leave a comment below, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my abilities. And if you have even more questions, you can also go, again, into their official Wizard101 Discord server and basically kind of ask the devs, like, hey, I had a question about this, and maybe some other people in the Discord server can also help you as well. It's a very supportive community. But, yeah, we'll see how the launch goes. Sorry for the long video. And, yeah, until then, peace out.